Hello and welcome to our workshop today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can get right into it. First of all, I want to talk about why we're doing this workshop. It's beginning of 2026 right now, and from what I've seen in the past is that a lot of companies, especially in the medical field, we don't really start the year with a really exciting, very well planned out action plan for the year. So what we do is I try to host a couple of these, one at the end of the year and one at the beginning of the year, so that whoever is still has not come up with their marketing plan has some good insights and feedback on what they can do in order to really make this stuff work for them in 2026. So first, let's just get right into it, like who I am, why any of this matters for you. First, the plan for this session. Number one is to set clear goals and targets for the year. We are going to do a bit of a workshop mode so that if you don't have your targets, if you don't have your goals set, there will be some insights on how to get that done during the session and then afterwards. Realign your KPIs and your tracking to achieve those outcomes. We have some really good resources, especially stuff that we have added this year for 2026 that's aligns a lot more with AI, with automation, with newer technologies that were not available before. We're going to map out that plan for actually accomplishing this in 2026 because that's usually the problem when it comes to goals is we set goals, we set some target numbers, but we don't actually have a plan to implement it during the year. And this includes budget allocation, what channels to do, and also, as I said already, we're going to discuss some of the recent trends that happened in 2025, particularly around AI, around automation, around areas that you should be focusing on now and how we can have that success in 2026 and beyond. If you go to, there's a URL here, and it'll be sent out with the show with the notes as well for this workshop. Where if you go to go.truewellnessmarketing.com/2026-resources, it should also be in an email that would have been emailed out for the resources ahead of time. There's a workbook here. There's also a lead generation target planner. There's some really good resources here that you can go through. Again, that's go.truewellnessmarketing.com/2026 dash resources. A little about me. I am Andrew Whitley. I'm the founder and CEO of True Wellness Marketing. I've been a business owner since I was 17 years old. My family had a big old house that I grew up in. I'm the youngest of five boys, and when my brother and I were graduating high school, my parents needed to decide what to do. They started a hospitality business, turned their home into a bed and breakfast. My mother also had a day spa that I helped them run, helped them build everything related to it. And then 15 years ago, actually 16 now almost, I moved back into the business after college and helped my parents turn around their business, which was struggling. The main thing they didn't do very well was marketing, so I learned it from the ground up, from web design, ads, doing social media marketing, everything that was new around 2010, 2011 when I really started getting into it. We helped them more than double the revenue in about 2 years for the business. And then I decided I wanted to do this full time for other companies. I started out working at a marketing agency, working with all types of industries, from law firms to medical professionals, service businesses, trades professionals. But what really made me make the shift into functional medicine was my own story. I had a couple clients who were functional medicine practitioners and I was working with them from a marketing standpoint, got to know them pretty well. And at the time, I had never even heard about functional medicine. And it took me a little while before I actually became a patient of functional medicine, and then it changed my life. It changed a lot of things about my outlook, about my health. There were ongoing issues that I had had, nothing too crazy. I had some GI issues that I needed to fix. I found out that I had a gluten intolerance and as well as a lactose intolerance, and that I needed to remove both those from my life and change a lot of things in my diet just to have better health. It's affected my wife's life and a bunch of my family members. I have a 5-year-old daughter who also lives a very well functional medicine diet and eats better than 99% of kids out there. And I decided I wanted to do my part to help other people receive the same healing powers that I did when I became a functional medicine patient. I wasn't going to go back to school in my when I'm 40 years old. I'm now I'll be 43 in a few weeks. So I didn't want to go back to school and become a health coach or a functional medicine doctor, but I did decide to use my marketing expertise to build a new marketing agency called True Wellness Marketing, which just serves functional medicine, direct primary care, concierge medicine, those who get to the root cause of the issues that their patients are facing and want to get out of the old Western medicine system. That is our focus. I also wrote a book that I published about a year ago called Health Haven: Powerful Marketing to Build a Thriving Functional Medicine or Direct Primary Care Practice. We do have free copies, digital copies. If anyone wants to request one, you can just reach out to me and I can send you a copy of that book. And what that does, it helps build that foundation that you, as someone in your practice, if you have some time, someone in your business could follow the blueprint, the framework, and it's a step-by-step process on how to align your marketing with current trends and how to get all the right content and information out there. Some of which we're actually going to review today. So this is your 2026 digital marketing plan, and we're going to get right into what we're going to be doing on this workshop. First, and this is one we're going to do briefly because this is one that you'll need to do more or less on your own, on your free time, is to set your clear goals for the year. We're already approaching the end of January. So the question is, do you already have clear goals set? Do you already have those milestones ready to go? Because as Brian Tracy said, he's a great sales coach that I've read a couple of his books. Success is goals, all else is commentary. And if you're not setting goals, then you're just basically a ship out in the sea with no wind and no way of propelling you to where you need to go. Whereas when you have clear goals, that's wind in your sails, now you can actually get somewhere. You can set a destination and really move towards that place. We do have a lead generation planner. So when you go to the URL, the go.truewellnessmarketing.com/2026-resources, you will see a planner which you can put in your monthly revenue, target number of clients per month, and other metrics. In fact, I'm going to show a version of this on that page when you go there. So I'm just going to share a different screen here. So if you go to that URL, you'll see we actually have a calculator this year that I didn't have last year, where you can actually put in your revenue. You can also go to go.truewellnessmarketing.com/calculator, and it'll take you directly to the calculator. And this is an area where you can put in what is your revenue goal for the year. So let's say you want to get to $2 million, which would be um, a great place for a lot of clinics. Now, your average lifetime client value, we put that in here. Let's say your average lifetime client value is $5,000, which is a pretty normal average client value for a functional medicine practice. And then when you get a lead that comes in, and I don't just mean you've got their information. What I mean is you have a lead that came in and said, yes, I'd like to meet with you and do a consultation or whatever that would be. What percentage of those do you close? Some people, when they get in front of a client, they have a 1.25. They are, 1 in 4 they close. Sometimes it might be 50%. Whatever that number is, this is what we need to put into here. And you may not have those exact numbers. This can be refined as you go. So if you get 5 people in front of you, you sign on 3 of them. Okay, now we know our close ratio is 60%. But just for these purposes, we're just going to put in 25%, just have a really conservative estimate of people who get in front of you that you bring on to actually become a real client. So what this shows is that if you are trying to get to $2 million a year, your monthly revenue would need to be basically $166,000. For that, with $5,000 client value, you need 34 new clients a month. Basically, one a day is what you're going to need to come in if you're a $2 million practice, if your average client value is $5,000. And this shows at a 25% close ratio, you need 134 leads that come in through the door. And this is going to be different for everyone. You might just be trying to get to $250,000, and which means your monthly revenue target is only $20,000, and you will need 17 leads a month to close 5 in a month. There's also a budget planner, which we'll review a little bit later, where you can see, okay, how much should I be investing in different areas? We're going to go to this in a little bit, but for this purpose, what we need to do is figure out what is our average monthly revenue right now? What is the revenue that we want? And then we can put that information in. This is also in the workbook. If you open up the workbook, it's on page 6, where you can actually put in your real numbers right now. So in order for us to set goals for the year, we do want to make sure that they're SMART goals. And SMART is an acronym: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. We know this because this is how you work with your clients, with your patients. If someone says, I just want to lose weight, or I just want to get healthy, you need to set really specific goals. Okay, what does that mean specifically? Do you need to feel a certain way? Do you need to lose a certain amount of weight? Do you need to um, are there certain things you want to track along the way? And we do this with our clients. We also need to do it with our own companies. And when we are budgeting and planning out our year for our marketing, it should be very measurable. Something is, again, just like I want to get healthy. Okay, what does that mean? How can you measure it? It should be achievable within the year. So if you're at $1 million, you want to get to $10 million, and your previous year at $800,000, that might be a little difficult unless you've made a lot of changes, brought on business partners and other things. Relevant and time bound. It should be time bound, but even with a time bound aspect, there should be milestones along the way. So this is why we want to set SMART goals when we're setting up our marketing for our company. And your long-term vision, this is also in the workbook on page 6. You'll go through that, and you can set up what is your revenue for 2026. Or you can also put in what do you want your monthly revenue to be at the end of the year, because that's the goal that we're going with. If you have a really lofty goal you want to get to, and then how many clients does that mean? How many new clients per month do you need to bring in the door? But then the important thing is to put in is why? What is the reason you need to have these people come in the door? Is it because you want to serve the community and help more people, which is probably the main reason why you want to do this? Do you want to build a thriving practice? Do you want to have multiple practitioners you've brought on board with different specialties? What is the reason why you want to reach this? And how does that serve not only yourself, but also your clients by helping more people? So we already went through where the calculator is. It's go.truewellnessmarketing.com/calculator. This is where you can put in your revenue goal. You can put in your client value and everything else, and it'll do those calculations for you. So we already reviewed this. Let's get into the biggest marketing trends of 2025 that happened and what we need to do for 2026. The first, it's probably the biggest one, is a growing popularity of AI. Yes, AI has been around for a couple of years now. It's been about 3 years when I think ChatGPT was released and people started using it, but it's very different now. Even when you uh, do a basic Google search, you go to Meta, you go anywhere, AI is going to be involved. Everybody either has it on their phone, use it regularly, or it just shows up in our searches in our daily lives. It used to be you'd have to go to ChatGPT, you have to go to Claude or one of these other AI models in order to interact with them. Now they're everywhere. And this has happened. So when we're talking about marketing, yes, we should focus on Google, but with the Claude, ChatGPT, and the others coming out, they are also being included in the search. There's also a new thing called zero-click search, which means someone, if right nowadays, so it used to be if you type in what is the height of Mount Everest, you would have to click on an article to see, okay, that is 29,000 whatever feet is Mount Everest. Now, you don't need to click on anything because you say, what is the height of Mount Everest? And it'll say and it will just tell you from AI that, oh, Mount Everest is this height. And that's different because now people can get information without actually clicking on anything, which means not everything is traceable. Even and nowadays, it's going to be even in your own practice. So if someone says, what is the phone number of this clinic? It's not going to send to your website anymore. It's going to just say, here's their phone number. And they can just type it in or click there in order to get there without going through your website. So it may not be tracked in some of the things that we have. Those are some things to keep in mind when we're talking about AI and how it's affecting the landscape. Online scheduling, something that's been around for a long time, but if you're not using online scheduling, if there isn't a way for someone to schedule quickly from their phone from any other methods that they want, you're going to be missing out on a lot of what's going on. And I still see clinics that you have to call the clinic to book an appointment. And even then, uh, it just are you always going to answer the phone? Are you always going to have someone who's there ready to answer the questions to book them? And you may have that set up, you may not. But a lot of people do not want to call. They want to just schedule online. Two-way messaging, this is something that is much more recent, and two-way messaging, not just with being able to text you, but also being able to message on Facebook or any other place that they are. So if someone messages in, they want a response, and they want a response pretty quickly. And then AI lead follow-up, this is can be employed through to the two-way messaging. It can be employed in your scheduling system where it should be linked to your clinic. And a lot of clinics are doing this where you go there and people basically expect it now. They go to your website, they expect there to be an AI chat there that is trained on you, your protocols, your practice, and can even schedule appointments directly with with you. And people will expect this, especially if they're under 40 years old, they're likely going to expect this to be on your website. They're going to expect that they can message you at any time and get a response. Not necessarily from you, but from somebody who is trained in your protocols and in your practice. And the other thing that we've seen that's really important is authentic video content. You've probably seen recently there's a lot of AI videos out there, a lot of generic kind of stuff, but because it's not authentic, people are seeking out authentic content. And soon, they've already a lot of social networks and platforms have already started putting tags on things that is AI content. So when you have authentic video content from the practice owners, from the practitioners, that is going to perform very, very well. You can answer basic questions. You can position yourself as the expert in whatever issue that they're facing. These were the biggest trends that we saw in 2025. It's more of a continuation of 2024. It's just at another level now, especially with the AI and automation technologies. So when it comes to your marketing strategy, I want to get right into the model that we employ when we're doing marketing for clients. Because there are three basic areas. First is we need to drive leads. We need to get people saying, yes, I'm interested in your services. Click here to fill out a form, click here to call, text us, whatever it is that they need to in order to raise their hand and book whatever it is you need them to book, whether it be a free consultation, a chat, or an in-office visit. This is how we can help you grow. But after we get all these leads, we need to maximize that conversion. There are certain things we're going to employ and talk about how to maximize the conversions when someone has raised their hand and said, yes, I'm interested in your services. And then the last part is optimizing those results. We must optimize because even if we set up, and we've done it before as an agency, where we set up a great funnel, we set up the conversion process, and then for some reason things get a little stale after some time, or something isn't working the way it needs to. We always want to be optimizing the results. And we go in this circle. Now we check out what's happening. Now, how do we drive more leads? How do we drive better leads? How do we increase our conversion even higher than what it was before? So first, the first area I want to talk about is the SEO side of things. This is a part that's been around since Google came out, basically, where you want to rank organically. There's a lot that goes into Google. Now, this checklist is in the workbook, so we're not going to go through everything on this checklist, but it's really into three areas. There's on page, and that's your web, and right now we're just talking about your website. The on page, what is showing? What is the user experience like? Are we telling AI and Google all of the right signals? Who you are, what you do, what are your hours, how do you help people? It's great to have case studies and testimonials there too, so that it shows that, okay, this person can help this person with the issue that they're facing. The next we move on to is the Google Business Profile. This is so important that you have properly optimized your Google Business Profile. Some people will say, "Well, I have issues getting verification. I have issues with this." If you have issues, reach out. We have some processes that can help people get verified if you're having problems with this. It must be optimized so people can find you. You also should claim all of your business listings out there, whether it be through Yext, Uberall, Bright Local, Whitespark, another area where you can manage all the citations, all the information about your clinic, so that it's not just on Google, but everywhere else. Hundreds and hundreds of directories can know who you are, what you do. And then a review system. You might optimize your Google Business Profile. You might have your website optimized, but if you only have a couple of reviews, people are not going to trust it very much. There should be a process in place for gathering more and more reviews, and we're going to get on this later. So I'm going to keep moving on with this. There is a checklist in the workbook, so which will take you through the SEO and the basic setup of your marketing strategies. So check it out once when you get a moment. Make sure you are doing all of these things to know whether or not your website is set up for conversion, whether or not you have things set up on your Google Maps profile, and whether or not you're doing the right paid marketing and social media marketing for your clinic. The next area that I want to talk about is paid search. Now, paid search can mean a lot of things. So we're going to go through what this is. So first, here at the bottom, this is the organic foundation. What we just talked about, the SEO. Um, Ideally, all of your marketing will be built on assets that you own. If you become totally reliant on one platform, whether it be Facebook or TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, any of these platforms, they can make a quick change tomorrow and it can completely tank your business if you're relying on one avenue for this. So we always want to build our marketing on a good organic foundation. That's your website, your Google business profile. Even though you don't own that network, you still own the data that's there, and you can, and if they make a change, then you can always move to something else. But that organic foundation of who you are, what your clinic is, who you serve, and how you help them should be prevalent everywhere. Then there's paid search. That would be Google search. So if someone's searching for your service or you specifically, you want to make sure you're showing up right away. And above that, there are some pay-per-lead services. Depends um, on your practice. If you're, and it depends on what area. There's Google Guaranteed or Google Local Services, where if you're a chiropractor, if you're a certain area that does have pay-per-lead services, I do recommend trying it out and see if you can get some good leads from this. And then at the top of this funnel here is social ads. This is an area where we have seen a lot of success, especially over the last couple of years for the clinics that we work with, because that's how you can get your brand story out to people in your local market, especially if you serve a local market, a local town, and you have some specific things you do better than what others. We want to make sure that's very clear. So if someone is around you and because of the algorithm, if if they're searching for a functional medicine practice, they will see your ad if it's set up the right way. And it should be a way that they can connect with you online. So why do most of these pay-per-click campaigns fail? Because we audit a lot of campaigns for clinic owners. I do these marketing consultations a lot. And so often they'll say, well, I spent thousands of dollars and I got nothing out of it. So why does that happen? First, it's because, and we see this a lot, is that they'll just have one ad to cover everything that they do. And this is just not going to work anymore because, especially the way that the ads are optimized in the algorithm, you have to mention the LCDs, the lowest common denominators, the things that people are actually searching for. You have to mention weight loss or hormone optimization, chronic fatigue, gut health issues, whatever it is that you are often treating in your practice should be what is actually mentioned in the ad. So that if someone is Googling chronic fatigue, how do I get help with my fatigue? When they go back to Facebook or Instagram or any other place, they're going to see that ad because of the way the algorithm works, because it knows about them, it knows their search history. So if you have one ad that, hey, here's our clinic, it's just not going to be enough. It's a good way of introducing yourself to the local market if you don't have something like that already. It's called a brand awareness campaign. But it's good to have specific ads for specific services. And then a couple other things I want to get on, I want to touch on with this is that everything must be tracked. That's the fourth point here. Is that I often see that the calls are not tracked, the leads are not tracked, and that data is not getting back into the ad campaign, whether it be on Google or through social media. It can only optimize itself if it knows this person filled out a contact form, this person became a lead, and now that data is fed back into the algorithm. Then it'll find more people like this person who clicked on and interacted with your ad. The other issue I've seen is it's not going to the correct audience. We have audited ad campaigns and they say, hey, we're wasting a bunch of money on this ad campaign. It turns out it was a hormone optimization campaign going to 18-year-olds. And they did not optimize it for the age group of the people who generally need the hormone optimization campaigns. Yes, are there 18-year-olds that need hormone optimization? Sure, but that's not where 90% of your clients are. 90% of your clients are probably between 30 and 60 years old. I mean, it could be older too. It depends if you take if you want to serve a much older clientele. A lot of our clinics, they will cut that off around 62 or 63 years old when we're doing our targeting, just because once they get to 65, they often want to just use their Medicare. And most clinics that we work with don't take Medicare. And we want to also want to make sure the ads are running during the right time. Because if your ads are running at 2 a.m. and you have no way of fielding those leads at 2 a.m., then we don't want the ads to be running at 2 a.m. Now, if you're a client of ours, we make sure we set up an automated system so that if it does happen at 2 a.m., they're interacting immediately with an AI that's trained on you, can answer their basic questions, and book the appointment for your either free consultation, in-office visit, whatever that would be. And then you can run ads all the time. And those ads at 2 a.m. are a little cheaper than they are at 2 p.m. And that's one thing to keep in mind when you're running ads, but you don't want them running all the time unless you can actually field the leads, because that's where you're going to lose it. You're going to lose the lead because they're going to come through and they're not going to get followed up with right away. So PPC campaign, any ads you're running, the follow through has to be immediate. Is this isn't a referral. That this isn't someone who reached out and said, "Hey, my friend said to come to you," or this other doctor referred you. This is someone who just saw an ad and they clicked on it. So we need to get to this person immediately. So the third part with driving leads that I want to get into is your database. A lot of clinics that have been open for a year or more do not properly activate and use that database in order to drive more traffic, drive more leads into your system. So I'm going to talk a little about that. So first, keeping your database active. There's different ways you can do this. So first with the newsletter. This is one that, I mean, the newsletters have been around for over 30 years, where you get an email about here's what's going on in our clinic. It's a way of keeping top of mind for people. In the marketing planning workbook, there are just some ideas. I'm not saying use these, but these could be some good ideas that you can use just to get the juices flowing so that you can say, okay, what do we want to do in January? What promotions do we want to have? What do we want to be offering? February, March, April, just go through the year and plan this out. Really workbook this out with anyone else in your practice as well. What are some good things that we can do to get people in the door? With our clients, our goal is to set up a 52-week nurture sequence so that every week we are sending something out to our client's database, and that's part of our setup. Is within the first month of somebody working with us, we want a long-term nurture sequence that's going to be going out to your clients. You can have quarterly focuses, which are good. Just a quarterly plan. What are we doing every quarter? So you don't have to plan everything out ahead of time for the whole year, but I do recommend you have something in the works. And then just some other promotional opportunities. So you can have a new member sign up. You can have an annual lab panel or a quarterly or a semi-annual lab panel. There are other ways you can have new patient referrals. So there are other things you can try out. The important thing is just to have a system that you've implemented, and then you can see what works. You can see which emails worked. You can see which promotions worked. You can see what specials actually got people in the door. So rate yourself. Are you red, yellow, green? Um, Wherever you are, that's okay. You don't need to be green on everything, but it's a good way of knowing where I am right now. Let's get into conversions. So the first thing we always look at as an agency side is we look at what is our client showing the world, and what you're showing the world is your content. Your website is the primary place that people are going to go to. So we're not going to go through every point on this list, but there are some important. It's in your workbook as well. But there are some important things to go through. And when we're looking at a website, we're looking at, does it actually speak to your real clients? Does it tell your story? Is it authentic? And then do you have all the basics in order? And we're going to go through some of these in the next couple of slides. So this is a client. We built a website for a chiropractor. And one thing we wanted to make sure to do is have a easy navigation so it's easy for someone to find what they're looking for. Your contact information should always be on the top, as well as your social proof, social links. These are standard now with with Google and with search engines. It used to be where you would go to a website even 10 years ago, and sometimes they'd have some side navigation, a bottom navigation, and a top navigation. It'd be all over the place with different styles, different layouts. There is a standardized layout that you probably see across almost every website now. Is you have your logo at the top, either middle or left side of the screen, and you have a simple menu that gets to your main categories of services or main pages you want people to send to. If you're a local clinic and you have a physical location, you do need to have the phone number and email, or phone number and address there very prominent. Search engines do look for this because then if someone is searching, where is this clinic located? What is their phone number? It's right there in the header code. So it means it's the first thing it's going to pull up. This also feeds into the AI algorithm too. And a lot of things we do for our websites now are for the AI algorithm. And then having real pictures. This is a client they had, I think every couple, twice a year, they have somebody come in and take some new pictures of their clinic, their practice. They're practitioners. They have some friends of theirs come in to pose as as patients, and it's a way of getting some fresh content regularly going through. So the next area is your reputation. When it comes to reputation management, this is the same client here, is you need to have a strategy of getting consistently good reviews. And this so much feeds into the algorithm. It should be an automated system that you have set up so that when somebody leaves your clinic, someone becomes a patient, there should be a process on feedback, seeing how did you do? How does that person feel? And if they had a good experience, there should be a process on having them write a review that isn't you saying, "Hey, can you please write us a review?" Because obviously that's not scalable to do something like that. It's of course good. It's nothing wrong with mentioning it in the office, but having a system to get consistent reviews where you're getting these reviews come in every week are just are crucial. Um, Client testimonials and social proof. Now, this is something you do need to be careful of because you do need to be HIPAA compliant. You need to make sure you do have a release form from each person you're getting a testimonial from. Um, but it is so nice when people can go to your website and they see real people who have had similar issues. This re brings up your conversion rate quite a bit. And I love it when I see this, when I see people who they have clients come in the office, you can record it together or just have a video that they record themselves in order to show this is who we are, this is what we do. And because it shows real people, it shows that you're not just saying you help people, it shows that you really do help people. Then the last area of the conversion optimization is the automation. Now, this is an area that I see done the least with clinics that we do audits of. So there's a serious issue. Most people who fill out, so it used to be you would send people to your website and they would just fill out a contact form that gets emailed to the clinic, and then hopefully someone gets back to that person. 90% of those will not convert if it's a new person coming in the door, because by the time you get back to them, they've probably already moved on, unless you have an automated system in place. Most inbound calls are also left unconverted, and that's partly a not picking up the phone issue and then leaving a message. I know when I call a medical clinic and they're like, "Oh, leave us a message," I kind of assume that they're not going to get back to me or it's going to be a while before they get back to me. So how do we fix this problem? Well, we fix the problem by incorporating AI. Um, because the reason why is because people who are not followed up within the first 15 minutes or so, it's going to go cold. And then the average customer must be followed up with multiple times before they're going to book. Unless it's a very hot lead, it's a referral that they're more likely to book quickly. And today's customers, they want immediate results. They want to interact with somebody immediately, even if it's 2 a.m. They want something. They want an appointment on the books. They want to be able to they want to be able to interact with something that says, okay, I'll block off uh, Tuesday at 10 a.m. And then you're going to have a phone call with so and so. That's going to allow them to stop searching further because they have something on the calendar. They feel like help is on the way. And if they're not sure if help is on the way, they're just going to keep looking until they feel like help is on the way. So what we offer and what we provide all of our clients is a fully functional CRM that's a sales and marketing CRM that has the AI chat involved. So on your website, there's going to be AI chat. We run everything through. We have sales pipelines. We have our landing pages. It integrates with our social media to schedule all the content. It automates reputation management. This is something we do offer as a standalone service who are not marketing clients of ours on a case-by-case basis. But we were going to go through a little bit about how this works. First is that we employ the AI chat on all of our clients' websites. And you can do this. There are chatbots out there you can just buy. They're not too expensive, usually a couple $100 a month if you want just one for your clinic. And you can just do a quick search for AI chats and see what there is available to you. But the main thing is they want to be able to interact with somebody through this. It should be on your landing pages, your website, and ideally the AI chat will also be interacting with people who message in through social media at the bare minimum, and then any leads that come through. So in order to leverage AI chat, here's just a little demo on how this works. And what it shows is that, and this is a real demo of how it works. So, hey there, and then the AI replies, "Welcome to our center. Um, can I ask you what brings you here today?" Yes, I'm feeling anxious. I got these issues. Hey, I'm sorry to hear about that. It will empathize with people, and then ask them what they're looking to achieve. This is what I'm looking to achieve. That's great. Um, and then we offer these. Does that interest you? Yes, they do. And then great, let's book an appointment. And then it's going to actually check the calendar of the practitioner and it's going to create the contact record and it's going to book an appointment. And this blocks off on the client's calendar because if it's linked up to Google Calendar, or any other major calendars, and it also blocks off on the clinic's calendar as long as it's synced up in the right way that has a two-way sync like a Google Calendar. And what this does, it allows someone to book right away. It leverages all of the automation, the follow-ups, the web forms, and everything, so that within 2 minutes, someone has an appointment or a phone call scheduled or something that allows them to stop searching for your services. And what we also do is when that lead comes in, let's say a lead comes in and they did not book an appointment. Well, first, if they book an appointment, you want to make sure that there are certain reminders along with the appointment, especially if that appointment is several days away. We'll set up to make sure there are at least a couple reminders along the way, like a day before and then an hour before or a few minutes before the appointment if it's a phone call. But we also want to set up automation so that if they don't book an appointment, they just come through, "Yeah, here's my information. I'm dealing with these issues. Oh, I'm not ready to schedule right now." Now we have their information. They've already clicked the box that in order to start the chat that they are agreeing to messaging. And then you can send them an email or text message to prompt them to encourage them to book an appointment if they didn't already. So that's the automation side of things. So when it comes to maximizing conversions, where are you at right now in your practice? Are you red? Are you yellow? Are you green? How much of this are you doing? If you're not doing a lot, then this would be something that would be very important to get optimized very soon because the other clinics are doing it. Your competitors have AI, they have automation. They're doing this to get people in the door. So the next area is optimizing those results. Now, we already reviewed the calculator. I'm going to talk a little more about that. Here's a nice quote that I like, which says, "Half of my advertising is wasted. The trouble is I don't know which half." So if we're not tracking things, if we're not optimizing stuff, then we're going to have issues. The first is to figure out how much should I be spending on marketing. So if you want to get to a certain level, and I'll just share my screen and go through this with calculator real time. So there's a budget planner here on the calculator as well. So what you do is you put in your revenue target. So, okay, I want to get to 1 million a year, not 100,000. 1 million a year is what my goal is. So the next thing you put in is what percentage are you going to investing in of your revenue, of that target revenue into your marketing? Now, sometimes I come across people and they say, "Oh, I'm just a single practitioner. I'm not trying to grow. I'm not trying to bring on more people. I don't need more. I just need a trickle. I just need a few people coming in here and there into the practice." And they don't want to grow. They don't want to expand. That's fine. You can just maintain. You can just spend 3 to 7% of your revenue on your marketing efforts, and then you'll probably be okay as long as it's used in the right way. But if you actually want to really grow, whether it be moderate growth or accelerated growth, you need to spend a little bit more. What most people will recommend is around 10% of your revenue goal should be spent on marketing efforts. That doesn't mean everything is online. So let's say you want to get to 100 to $1 million a year. You want to spend 10% on marketing. So your annual marketing budget should be $100,000. Monthly is 8,000. And then down here, you can, on the next area on the calculator, you can just put in what percentage is on online marketing, what percent is offline, and what percent is repeated business, getting people back in the door. And that could be with special offers or whatever else you want to do with this. And then you go in and you can do this breakdown real time, and you can see how much you should be spending, even with the digital marketing. So with the online marketing, you can say how much percentage of that is on ads, how much is on SEO, how much is on retargeting, and then can have a monthly goal of what we can reach for. So that's how we can get into that aspect of the whoops, wrong one, slideshow. Okay. That's how we can plan out our revenue wise, how much we need to be spending on marketing. And that's something we do with our clients when we bring somebody on. Because on occasion, we have people who they come in for a marketing consultation and they say, well, I'm at this level, I want to get to this level, but they're only willing to pay like a few $100s a month on their marketing. But unfortunately, it's just not gonna work. You're gonna need to have a significant budget to make this work. So optimizing your average cost per lead is very important. So this is also in the workbook where you can actually put in what is your cost per lead. Ideally, this will be tracked in whatever advertising you're doing. And if your advertising is set up, then you can see we got 12 leads that came through from this $500 ad spend, so we know that each lead is costing us this much. And that way you can track it here to know what is your acquisition cost. Because because you need to get a certain amount of appointments to get a client. So then you know, okay, for this many appointments, I got this many clients. This is the actual revenue. So now I know our ROI. This is something that we work with our clients on. So when they sign on a client, we can track how much that patient's actually worth to them. And then we can show this is what the value of this marketing is. Because then we know which one is working, which ones are not. Often we have multiple campaigns running. We might have a hormone optimization right next to a chronic fatigue or a functional wellness pre-consultation campaign. We need to know which ones are working, which ones are not, and having the right tracking of all helps us to do that. And this is where you can track the ROI. We want to match it to the customer. We need to match it to the person. We need to know what the booking rate is. It's just a simple formula that we already basically went through. The total revenue divided uh, by the amount of bookings you had divided by the leads. So we provide a summary for our client so they know if this many leads come in, this is your investment, this is your cost per lead. And then we can also review the performance of the website as well. This is how you can track what's happening on various channels to optimize. So on the website, we would know, okay, if our bounce rate is really high, what do we need to get the bounce rate down? Or is this even a problem? How many people fill out forms? What is our click to call ratio? We want to know all this information so that we can better optimize what's happening. And sometimes it's as simple as installing Google Analytics and just making sure it's set up correctly so you can see what's happening on your website. But then you want to compare year over year, quarter over quarter, and see what's happening with your website specifically. So when it comes to optimizing results, are we red? Are we yellow? Are we green? Or are you feel free to mark it down? And then we'll move on just to the last part of this system. So the next area is to plan our focus for the year. So we already brought up this as to plan this out. And it's just important to do this brainstorming session so that we can have a plan of action. Now, if you're working with an agency, it makes it much easier because then you can more or less hand this over, and then the agency will make sure we have the content for it, and we'll work together on creating the content. If we have if we have February's coming up, if it's American Heart Health Month, if we want to do some stuff about cardiovascular fitness, do a special marketing push for a specific product or service that we have, then you should be working with your agency to come up with the content for that. And if you plan it ahead of time, you can batch that content and create that content in advance. Ideally, at least once a quarter, you just shoot the videos. Here are the workshops we're going to be doing. Here are the promotions we're going to be running. And then I've also included in the resources this. This is a company info sheet because what I've found is that a lot of clinics, when we start working with them, they don't know where a lot of their stuff is. They don't know what their logins are. They don't know what avenues they're investing in. They don't really have a good snapshot of what's happening. So this is just an area so that if you do end up working with an agency, this is what you'll need to provide them in order to get things moving quickly. There are occasions where we start a marketing campaign and it's weeks in before we can even get into their Facebook account because they don't know the login. It used to be managed by someone else who isn't even working at the practice anymore. And then we end up having to delay the expectation on what you can expect out of the marketing because we don't have all of our stuff in line in the first place. So I included this sheet in the workbook just so you know if you do work with the company to make sure that you have everything filled out, make sure you have all the information in place so you know um, all of this up front. It's going to make your onboarding a lot smoother and a lot faster. So what would it mean to you if you actually achieve these goals in 2026? And now we do offer free marketing consultations for any clinic who's interested. You do go to truewellnessmarketing.com/schedule and you can book a appointment right on my schedule and we will walk through things in real time. So we'll take a look at your website, take a look at your social media, your current ads you're running. We'll take a look at everything that's going on. We'll really go deep into this stuff and see what is happening. We'll analyze what Google and other search engines actually see about your clinic. Do they know who you are? Do they know what you offer? And we can do this search together and actually come up with a plan together on how to get you there. If you use us, great. If you don't use us, that's fine. I want to give back. I want people to be able to help more people. Our mission with True Wellness Marketing is to help people help 100,000 people connect with a functional medicine doctor who can get to the root cause of their problems and help them heal and live a better life. And if we can help you do that, that's why we do these. That's why we do these workshops. That's why we want to help you guys out. And then with the workbook, I'll just go back uh, and show what you're going to learn if you go through the workbook and go through the checklist. So there are 9 steps essentially to get your marketing done correctly. The first is drive leads, and we review that. So organic, paid, in your database, React activation. Next area is maximizing your conversions, your website, reputation management, and automated systems. Then optimizing results. Figure out what is your total spend, how much you should be investing in marketing, what's your cost per lead and cost per appointment, cost per client that comes through the door if you can get that far into the data. And then what is your real return on your investment? Because that's the only way you're going to know how do we optimize this stuff? How do we make sure that we're growing in the future? Now, with True Wellness Marketing, we employ what we call the digital dominance method in our services. So on occasion, we have clinics who will come to us and say, I just want you to do this one little piece of the puzzle. I just want you to refresh and update my website, or I just want you just to help make sure there are social media posts going out every week. There was a time when we actually would take on these types of clients and do this piecemeal or a la carte kind of work. What we found is that it didn't actually move the needle for them. It didn't actually help them achieve the real results because it takes all of the pieces of this puzzle, or at least most of them, to really make things work correctly. For example, if we're running an ad campaign, but we don't have access to the website or the landing pages to do the optimization, then we're just spending a bunch of money and we don't have control of the output. How many leads come through? What experience are they having? We also make sure that all of our clients have the automation involved. So the marketing automation, so you might get a whole bunch of leads, but if there isn't automation in place for them to easily book an appointment, it's just not going to work. And then we always want to build on that foundation, the organic foundation of your clinic. We want to make sure we're showing the world what you do and who you serve. We want to have a beautiful website that converts, and we want to make sure that you're showing up in searches when someone's looking for you, especially nowadays with AI, that search engine optimization is even more important because you're not just optimizing for Google anymore. You're optimizing for Google, you're optimizing for Claude, you're optimizing for Meta AI, for Grok, for ChatGPT. You're optimizing for all these different channels. We are staying on top of what's happening. We're consistently adjusting our strategies for our clients to make sure that we're staying top of mind for wherever people are searching for now. So some things we covered: how to set clear goals, targets for the year, realigning your KPIs, mapping out our plan for the year, budget, channels, important trends that are happening, and setting up for massive success in 2026. Again, go through the workbook. Reach out if you have any questions. I will be answering any emails if you email me at Andrew at truewellnessmarketing.com. It'll get right to me. And with any questions you have, anything you want to work on together, or to book an appointment with me, I'd love to book an appointment and just for us just to go through this stuff together. So you should have a few action items after this workshop. And again, here's our information. So you can just go to truewellnessmarketing.com/schedule. This is free. We're not going to charge anything. We're not salesy or pushy. We are just going to go through what's going on, come up with some strategies, and present some options should you want to move forward. And that's it. And if you have any questions, reach out and look forward to hearing from you.